Hey mama, are you a multi-passionate mom who is juggling all the things, nursing a baby, battling laundry, trying to keep it together and keep a spicy marriage, and feeling like you're feeling all of it? What's up? I'm Ashley Carroll. I'm here to hold your hand through this process because I believe when you're ready to take control of your life, beat the limiting excuses, step into your own power, you can not only survive, but you can thrive. But you're gonna have to show up for yourself. It's time for me to tough love your way through prioritization, taking self-care seriously, getting rid of excuses, reconnecting with your family, kids, and spouse, and quite honestly, learning to love the chaos because the glory is in the journey. It's in the mess. In this podcast, you will find balance for busy mamas, navigating mom guilt, time management strategies, and everything in between with no fluff and lots of fun. Let's go. Hey friends, what's up? Welcome to Sochi Grows Podcast. Oh my goodness, you guys, if you've started online learning, I will say a little prayer for you. We are in week 2, Monday of week 2, and week 1 was great. And I was like, this is going to be so awesome. And now already I'm like, the ship is sinking, like help, we're drowning. And me and my son will probably end up crying at the end of the day today. So there's that. But also I want to let you guys know, in the midst of all this, right? Like we're overwhelmed with school and all the things, and we're trying to thrive instead of survive. I think we tend to look at the big picture and we see all the things that need to be done and all the things that we want to change and all the improvements that we want to be made, including in our marriage, our relationships, our motherhood, especially now with all this schooling that's fallen in our laps as well. We're juggling all the things. If you're sitting in a space of excuses and feeling like you're not good enough, of wondering why you can't seem to get your life together, you can't communicate with your spouse right now, and you're feeling like everything is a hot mess, then you've come to the right place, because for a short time, I'm going to be offering one-on-one strategy sessions. We need to come up with a cooler name for that, but basically where you and I just sit one-on-one and we talk about how we can make sure that you get over these limiting beliefs. And we're going to be brutally truthful with each other, brutally honest. We're going to bust through those limiting beliefs, get over excuses, and start to take action, have you take the really hard action to change how things are, who you are. And so I'm so pumped. If you are ready for this, and I mean really ready, right? Like you're on the brink. You're like, I can't do this no more. I really want to make a change. I'm going to put in all the effort, no matter how hard it is. Let's go, guys. Like, get in my DMs. I'm only going to take a couple spots because, as you know, we're juggling all the things right now. And I want to make sure that you're not drowning anymore. I want to make sure that you're, even when we have rough days like today, right? Like, you should still not feel like you're suffocating, like you're drowning, like there's so much on top of this, on top of that, right? That is not normal, guys. That's not normal. You shouldn't feel like that constantly. So we got to figure out what is the deal, and let's tackle one thing at a time together. Let's get you through, and let's get you to where you feel like, man, like you're on top of the world, you can handle anything, and you're just killing it. So if that's you, if you're ready, get in my DMs, send me an email, theashcarroll@gmail.com, the Ash, A-S-H, Carroll, 2 R's, 2 L's, @gmail.com. Hit me up, send me a message, tell me you want in. We'll talk about it. We'll get it going. We will change things and get it turned around, y'all. If you don't want to be slapped around, though, don't do this with me, because we're going to be brutally honest. We're going to get things moving, girl. So let's get to today's episode. As you guys know, I'm always brutally honest. I'm your friend, your online bestie that tells you the truth, the hard truths, right? So today's episode, the truth about why you are struggling playing with your kids. Honestly, this is the real deal, right? Like, you are probably cleaning unnecessarily to avoid playing with your kids. Ouch. Right? Like, did that just hit you in like the gut where you're like, dang it, that's so me. I hate playing. I hate playing with my kiddos. I'll clean the toilet bowls. I'll tell them I'm busy. I got things to do before I get on the floor. All right? If that's you, listen in. Let's talk about this. First off, let me just say, I know I just sucker punched you in the gut, but you are not the only one who feels this way. So don't feel awful and like, oh my gosh, you're such a horrible mom for even having these thoughts. How dare you even hate to, like to think that, gosh, you're like, it's almost one of those feelings to where you would rather do like the most awful things than play with your kids. And it feels like it should be one of the most natural things for us, right? Like to play with our own children. Like they're so beautiful and we love to watch them play. And it's such a, like, commercials show parents, especially for toy commercials, playing with their kids, and it's this magical, wonderful experience. And so then when we are asked to play and we don't want to, we feel extreme amounts of guilt about it. So I want to reinforce that you are not alone in these feelings. They're not negative, evil feelings. Hop into the Sochi Grows mom community and comment there on today's post if you're listening to this on Wednesday when this episode goes live, and let's talk about whether or not you like to play with your kids. And I promise you'll see a thread of other mamas saying they struggle the same as well. So get in there, comment, post, feel like you're not the only one for once, right? Like that's what it's all about. So why do we not want to play with our kids? Let's break this down. Like, let's get to the nitty gritty and some facts about this. The truth about why you don't enjoy playing with your kiddos most of the time is because mostly what our kids play are based on pretend and imagination. Kids' games can be boring. It's okay to say that. It's okay to not be on their level. It's okay that it's fun for them and not for you. And that's the problem, is that because we're adults, imagination and pretend are the hardest things for us to play. It's like, it's almost counterintuitive, right? Because we're playing grocery store with our kids and they're scanning the things and they're saying things and you're like, yeah, that would be like $3.50. You don't have enough money for that, child. Like, you don't even know how much this groceries would cost and you're just giving them away to me for free, right? Like, we can't even focus on playing and enjoying this type of play because we already are jaded by the realities of real life, and putting baby doll to sleep one more time isn't as easy as just laying her down, and sometimes it's okay for us to hop in. Like, sometimes we can hop in and out of pretend play with them here and there, but it's like, no, mommy, do it like this. No, mommy, do it like that. No, mommy, you don't put baby down like that. No, mommy, you need to put her down like this, right? If you guys are probably shaking your heads because your kiddos have asked you to play and then have told you you're wrong in how you're playing. Which this kind of play is okay for kids, right? Because they learn through their play, and this is how they're navigating and trying to figure out the world and, practice their emotions. It's a whole thing what playing is for them. But then when they try to involve us, it gets really complicated because we are on a whole other level of experience and life skills and whatnot. And so it's a struggle for us to play imaginary games or just boring games in general that we don't enjoy doing. So here are the truths about why we don't want to play with our kids. The number one truth being laziness. Okay? I'm with you on this one, right? We don't want to put our phone down because we're stressed out. Life around us, all the things, we tend to turn to our phones for an escape, for relaxation, right? We don't prioritize our sleep. So during the day, we're burnt out already. We have low energy. So putting in the extra effort to play and imagine, which already takes so much effort from us, feels draining. We dread it. We don't want to. We can't put our phones down because we're addicted. Like, seriously, we've all been in that place where we've ended up on Facebook scrolling mindlessly for 15 minutes and we looked up and we're like, wait a minute, when did I even pick up my phone? Or you don't even remember opening the app. You're just like in it and you're just like, whoa, how did this even happen? It's like one of those times when you're driving and you've kind of zoned for a minute and you don't remember passing half the things that you passed already, right? Because you're not focused. You're just doing it, and we've trained our bodies and our hands to just pick up the phone, open these apps, which is Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media app you have, constantly. And so it does it mindlessly, and then we end up scrolling mindlessly, right? But what that tells our kids is that we're choosing our phone over them, and that's heartbreaking, right? Because we're not meaning to do that, but we're also not taking care of ourselves, setting ourselves up right for the day to put us in a position to be able to put effort towards more valuable things than our phone. Truth number 2 is we don't know how to play with our kids in an enjoyable way. So when they say, Mommy, come play with me, when we're scrolling on our phones, we put the phone down and all of a sudden we have things to do and we start cleaning, right? It's all of a sudden, Mommy, come play. And it's like, oh, sorry, sweetheart. I know I was just on my phone for an hour, but now all of a sudden the dishes are a huge priority and I've got to get it done right now. I'm sorry, I can't play with you. Obviously, we don't say those things, but that's what we're thinking in our minds, right? Okay, truth number 3 is pretend play is hard and we don't like the game, or we don't like the game they're playing. So what do we do, guys? Like, we're not alone in this, obviously. We all feel these struggles. I think the number one thing we need to do is be honest about why we aren't playing with our kiddos. Seriously, there are days where I'm like, dang it, I didn't go to sleep. I should have. Now I'm paying for it today, not only in my lack of motivation, my lack of interaction with my kiddos. Like, I don't have the energy to do all the things, to engage into like, just because you have those days where you're just like on it, right? Like, you're just getting stuff done. You're like, yes, like I own that day. I did so many things. And you're like telling your husband, look at all I did, blah, blah, blah. I did this and I did this. And we ran a mile and we made homemade ice cream cones and we, all these things, right? But we can't do that if we didn't go to bed on time or do whatever it is necessary to feel energized and really good the next day, whatever your nightly routine is. So be honest with yourself. Which truth is it that's holding you back from keeping you playing with your kiddos? As soon as you realize and pinpoint where are you at, then you can fix it, right? Okay, well, if it's that I really do like playing these imaginary games, or my kids normally pick fun stuff to play, and that's not the problem. The problem is I'm not waking up early enough before them in the day to get my me time in before they ask me to play, or I'm not going to bed. Like, you can troubleshoot this, guys. The second thing we can do after we've troubleshooted why it is that we're not playing with our kiddos is to reconfigure this idea of play and know that we are not responsible to make sure that every day is full of entertainment and memory making, and that we owe our kids time, and that we feel guilty for working and we owe them this and we owe them that, and like their good time is up to us, right? We need to get past that, because that is not our job. Our job is not to make sure that they have a good time constantly. That is not our burden to bear. What we need to do is, if they're playing, let them play. You can sit and watch them play, because interrupting their play is actually not good for their little brains and for their little bodies. That's how they navigate. That's how they're learning. And sometimes it's disruptive, which is why when we try to step in, they're like, no, mommy, it doesn't do like that. Like, it doesn't play like that. And you're supposed to be over here, not over there. The fun thing that I've learned to do, if you don't want to totally engage or change the game, is to be a fly on the wall, to sit nearby them and just be quiet and watch them play. It's so fulfilling to watch them and see how their brain works and see what stories they come up with and what situations and, what games they're playing and they've come up with and their creativity, and just be present. And then occasionally you could say, oh, wow, that's so cool. And then you'll find that they won't ask you to come play later because you've already given them your time. This is the whole reason that they're asking you to play, is to create connection. And I've learned a lot of this stuff because play is a huge important role in the Montessori community, and being a former Montessori school employee, I've read a lot about this. And so I know it sounds like I'm speaking out of my bum hole, right? Like, about these things. It doesn't make any sense, but I promise you I've read about a lot of this. Also, from my own experience, right? I know that the means of them asking you to play with them is a means to gain connection with you. So you can still create that connection without having to disrupt their imaginary play or whatever it is that they're doing, and you still be giving them the attention that they need. The third thing that we can do is create another game. Like, it's okay for mom to not want to play pretend house or pretend grocery store or, marbles or chess or video games or whatever. Find something that you do like to play, because it's about you guys enjoying it together. If you do it reluctantly and resentfully, and they're going to feel like kids pick up on these things. They're going to know that you aren't having fun, and they're going to translate it as, mom doesn't like to play with me. And that's like the furthest thing that we want to do, right? So choose things that you enjoy too. It's not just about them. You guys, we are not here to entertain our kids. We're here to help them grow up and be amazing adults. And so play doesn't mean that we have to do what they want to do. Play can mean that we do what mom wants to do. If you want to play with mommy, we're going to play a game that mommy likes. My kids know that. There's board games that are completely off the off the list for me, and they know that. So they don't even ask me. It's not about that. They just want to play with me, right? To connect. So they know mom only plays this game and this game. Monopoly is definitely not it, so they don't ask me, and that's fine. So let's think about your playing relationship with your kiddos. And as you have older kiddos, it's going to look different, right? what I've started to do with my oldest, who is 10, but she is actually slightly mature for her age, which I hope she can't hear me say that, is just sitting in her room. Because again, it's connection, right? Play becomes less and less as they get older. And it's not even about the play at all, right? I've repeated that like 1,000 times. It's about the connection. So even as they get older, they still need to find a way for that connection. And so I've done the 5-minute time in, which I've had the guest on in the past who created this concept of the 5-minute time in. You can go look at that episode. I believe it's with Brittany Smart was her name. If you go back and look, you can find that episode. But this 5-minute time in is essentially just giving 5 minutes of your time to sit in their presence. If they're reading, you just sit down, read a book next to them. And you'll find that it starts this engaging conversation where they just start talking to you. And it's doable because it's only 5 minutes, right? You're just telling yourself it's 5 minutes. Now, obviously, if you want to spend more time because they're talking so much and they're opening so much with you about their day, about this and that, then by all means, stay in there longer, right? But 5 minutes is such an achievable amount of time for all of us, especially with multiple kiddos, that it puts no pressure on us. And it gives our kids the connection and the ability and space to have conversation and to open up to us when they're older, and play isn't exactly their thing. So now I feel like I've shared some tangible tips and some honest truths about playing with our kiddos. I feel like we can look at inside and see what is it that we struggle with. What are our true reasons, right? Like you can say, oh, it's because I don't have enough time. Okay, but were you scrolling on your phone for a long time? But were you doing the dishes that really don't matter? Or were you doing the laundry where you could do the laundry tomorrow or at a different time? So I think we need to get deeper than our surface level excuses. Ask ourselves if it's because we didn't prepare ourselves enough for the day, or if we aren't interested in what they're playing, or is it that we struggle putting the things down and investing in the things that are intangible, right? Investing in your connection with your child is not a tangible thing, but we can see and feel good about the kitchen that we cleaned. So I think that it's hard for us to put down one for the other because we feel like our successfulness in the day is always visible, right? Like we feel like if the laundry is done, everything's folded, everything's put away, everything's clean. Visibly, you can see I'm a successful mom, right? Or your husband can see, or the people that come over can see that you're a successful person because you have done all the things. You're nailing it as a mom because your house is clean, all the things are clean, and all the things are done, and the grocery list is done, right? But who is suffering at that to-do list is your kiddos who are pulling on your pant leg saying, Mommy, Mommy, come play, right? Yes, you don't need to be playing all the time. Yes, you should not be interrupting their play that's already going on when they don't ask you. Yes, you should be choosing things that you enjoy together. You enjoy, not just them. Yes, it's okay to say no, not today. Yes, it's okay to be tired and realize that you fudged up your nightly routine. You went to bed at midnight and now you're paying for it that day. That means that you just do better tomorrow. You try again tomorrow. This is not about nailing motherhood 100% of the time because that is unrealistic. We can't. We are human. We mess up. We want to spend time with our husbands, so we stay up late. So the next day our kids pay for it. But that's okay because we're building relationship with our husband, right? Or prioritizing him. So then the next day, prioritize your kids. It's not about doing everything 100% all the time. It's about realizing what needs to happen next, handling it, and then balancing it all out, right? There's some times where my kids are going to get more of my energy than my husband. Like right now, during the day, online learning, they are definitely making me pour myself out unwillingly sometimes. And that's okay. That means that, okay, I need to find a space within the chaos to then pour into my husband, right? Or pour into myself because the balance is off. And that's okay. There's no such thing as the scales being like equal to each other, perpendicular. Is that what it is? Parallel, whatever, to each other. Because it's always going to be something is more than the other, something is less than the other. And then we just continue to, tilt the scales back and forth. It's never going to be a constant balance in the middle. It's going to be a constant tilting of the scales back and forth of us seeing and adjusting. And then, like I said, it's just honestly getting to the truths of why it is that you really, really don't want to play and then changing it. Like I said, I would love for you guys to hop into the Sochi Grows Mom community. Search it on Facebook. You'll find it. Ask to join. I'll have you join. And let's talk about this. Like, let's have a conversation with Play. I'm really interested to see what you guys are doing to help make Play easier for you. Because some of you guys, maybe this comes naturally, right? Like some of you honestly have no problem. But then for the majority of us, it's like putting nails on a chalkboard to get us to sit down and sit still and put our phones down and to play for like 5 minutes, let alone 30 minutes, right? For me, outside is a no-brainer. You want to go outside? I'm all in. Like, let's go for a walk. Let's ride a bike. Like, those are things that I like to do. They know it. Let's do it, right? Mom has no problem. So maybe it's just a matter of like you giving your kids a list of things. And I would love to talk about that in the Facebook group. So hop on over there. Let me know your thoughts. Comment on the thread for the day. Let's get some encouragement going. Let's get some ideas flowing of how we can connect better with our kids. You guys are not alone. I want to reinforce that. This is such a big struggle for a lot of moms. If you Google it, there's like a ton of blogs of moms being like, I can't do this. So you're not alone. I hope that was helpful for you guys. I hope I wasn't just like pulverizing your mom spirit because I felt like it was some tough love in there, right? Which is my job. I feel like you just need that friend who just kind of tells you how it is a little bit sometimes, because I'm in that boat too and I need it as well. If you found this episode helpful at all, share with another mom friend so she's not crying in her struggles in the playroom of loneliness and play pretend games of house. I mean, it's just brutal sometimes, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, leave a review if you'd like, and continue to grow with us. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. Catch you later.